Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Second Act Actors. I'm your host, Dr. Gianna McMordie, and I'm still a medical doctor simultaneously trying to pursue a career in acting. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see I am rocking my Canadian Paralympic Committee gear. I am so excited that I get to be supporting Canada's Paralympians in Paris this year at the Paralympic Games as one of the medical doctors with Team Canada. I'm so excited. This is my first ever Paralympics. I was with the team in Chile at the Pan Am Games. I'm so excited to be working with them. The reason why I'm wearing this is because we are, as I'm recording this right now, 100 days out from the Paralympic Games in Paris. And we want to support our Paralympians and try and get them the same media coverage that the able-bodied athletes get. Let's do that. How about it? My amazing guest this week is Nicole Yost. Oh my goodness. Okay, so she's a teacher turned actor. We've never met in person in real life, but I am one of those people who's really trying, especially with my sober journey, to vibe check humans. And what I mean by this is that, you know, when you meet people, you kind of get a vibe about them. And it's really hard to get that nice vibe or bad vibe or whatever vibe from them when you're not sober. Now that I'm sober, I'm really trying to listen to that vibe check that my body gives me when you meet people. Let me tell you, again, why I'm telling you this is because when Nicole logged on to record this chat, the good vibes I got from this human being virtually through a screen were off the charts. I felt like I feel like I've known her my entire life. She is so incredible, so lovely. You'll hear it. We just jived from the top. I think she's absolutely freaking swell. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for you to hear her story. Trigger warning for this episode. We have a discussion about child loss. So Nicole is a mother and she tragically lost child. And so we do discuss this because it was very formative in regards to her transition into her acting career and just living the life that she lives now. So trigger warning about that. Otherwise, oh my goodness. This is one of those episodes that I've listened to now. Oh, how long have I been editing this? 3-4 times now. And I get hit with new information, new gems, new energy from Nicole, just bursts of wonderfulness every time I listen to it. I'm getting a little choked up already. Oh, everyone, please enjoy the incredible Nicole Yost. Tell me your story. How did you get into this crazy business?
So I started acting in theater when I was 7, and I thought that's what I, wanted to do with the rest of my life is be an actor. But, powers intervene that tell you, oh, you need to get a real job. So I did, and it came back around, and here we are. I've only been at this like full-time professionally for about 3 years consistently now, but you can't help what's meant for you. I've learned. So, still here, still doing it. Okay.
Tell me about what it was like as a kid. Like, I know there's always people around who are well-meaning sometimes who are saying you're adorable and you're, as a performer, but yeah, get a real job. Tell me about that transition from maybe I want to do this, but I got the real job.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like I hate to use the term come to Jesus moment, but I kind of my family had one for me. I had to decide at a young age that this is what I was going to or not going to do. And I continued to do it on and off through high school, through college, but I had to get that real career, so I actually became a teacher. And, you have people that tell you, what's good for you, or they think they know what's good for you. And then you have other people telling you, no, you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing, you're meant to do this, stick with this, it doesn't matter what other people say. And when you're 7, you're going to listen to that. When you're 17, you're like, okay, I really want to listen to that, but then the other powers that be are telling you that it's wrong, so then who do you listen to? So I was, like, stuck between 2 worlds of, like, the theater world and then the real world, even though it is real. Yeah.
What did you love about performing when you were young?
Honestly, the applause.
Hell yeah!
I mean, I loved nothing more than to hear people clap for me, which sounds kind of shallow, but really what I liked was if my character had done something or said something, I would wait for the reaction from people, and I loved hearing or aw or whatever, and I would, part of me would wait for it, and I loved it because to me that meant I'm doing something right because somebody's into what I'm doing. So for me, that was probably the best part, honestly.
Yeah. Well, how do people feel in front of you, what you're doing?
Right.
That is huge.
Right. You're like, I am convincing.
Yes. Well, like there's not many things in this world that can cause other people to have emotion more than art, honestly, right? There's not much. Yeah. Okay, so you're in high school. You go to university, teacher's college? How'd that work?
I went to university first, and I got a degree. I have a lot. I have a lot of degrees that I don't use. But I got a degree in communications, so, the general, whatever. But, my plan was that I actually wanted to be an agent, and I started to go down that track and quickly realized, no, I don't want that. So then, I floundered more for a while in what do I do with this, and I still continued doing theater and, learned more about the industry and ended up being a teacher for theater and film and television, but also for Montessori. So I've taught preschool through 6th graders pretty much every subject area, including acting, in my lifetime. So
cool.
That's what I ended up doing, yeah.
And so how long were you a teacher for before you said, I'm going to do full-time acting?
15 years.
Wow!
Yeah.
What changed? What happened that made you say, I don't want to teach anymore?
Well, to give a little backstory, so I have a son who passed away. So he'd be 9 this year, and now he's in heaven. Hi, Brayden.
I am
How are
so
you?
sorry. Hi, Brayden.
Thank you. Hi, Brayden. He made it sunny today. I actually have a window here, so he gave me lots of light, so I know that was him. Thanks, buddy.
It is so sunny. I don't know. Yeah. Thanks, Brayden.
Thanks, buddy. But, I was teaching before he was born, and after he had passed, the passion that I did develop for that, was gone. And I sort of forced myself to do it a few more years, because what else do you do? And then I'm like, I need something more for me. Other people were telling me I need to get a hobby, I need to go back to something I love doing, which is theater and acting. Okay, fine. So at that point, I had expunged it from my life for several years, thinking that was the right thing to do. And so I started up again with, basic acting classes, and, I go to my studio and all that. But it took, like I knew it would if I went back to it, and it did. And here we are, doing it.
It's interesting, and I, as somebody who's gone through grief as well, there, again, as we've talked about already, how many, well-meaning people who love to give advice on what to do. And when you were talking about, like, get a hobby, my whole stomach just went like, I was like, I remember somebody saying something exactly to me, that being like, oh, girl, you know what you need to do? You need get a hobby, right? Because then and it's well-meaning, right? You're like, sure. Right. Yeah. I think that's really interesting. Like, and so yeah, you could say, like, acting helped a grief process in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did it fill something? Was it, like, what turned it from hobby into, more than?
I mean, it did. So I started working background on a movie that was filming here. And, I was asked to do it. Okay, fine. And then, one day turned into two, turned into a lot. And as I was going through that process, I'm like, here we go again. This feels right. More right than anything I had ever done was. Teaching was good. Teaching was okay. I love kids. And, it's good to be able to have something else. But it just felt like it was right to me. So then after that, I just kept going again. And yeah, so here we are.
Something about teaching that I find really interesting is, again, there's that stupid joke that's like, those who can't do teach, right?
Right, I've thought of that.
How could you not, right? I come from a long line of teachers. But teaching is very performative.
It is. You're like the star of your own classroom, which sounds ridiculous to people who maybe don't get it, but you are. And especially with little kids, you have to engage them all the time. And it's like improv. You have to find new ways to do it. They don't, want to hear the same thing over and over again, or what worked yesterday isn't going to work tomorrow, and it's not working right now, so what else are you going to do? It's like a crash course in thinking on your feet and improvisation.
Yeah. But what was it about teaching that just didn't quite fill the performative void? Like, I guess, you don't get applause from the literal stand, but you get affirmations and stuff like that from an audience. But why didn't that fill the void that acting now does?
I felt like I couldn't be as creative as I can as an actor. And in education, you have certain standards you have to meet. You have a certain curriculum you have to do. In Montessori, where I come from, it's a little more flexible than like traditional education tends to be. But still, there were so many things I wanted to do and, for lack of a better phrase, parts I wanted to play that I couldn't as a teacher because my worldview is like this big and acting is like this big. So I think it was really my need to just be someone else, honestly.
Oh. And correct me if I'm wrong, and this might be just a brutal assumption, when you're because I think so much of teaching is improv, and I wonder, like, kids can clock probably instantaneously when you're being not yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and so they're like, that's not allowed.
Yep, absolutely. And you really have to think on your feet because of them. And if you're having a bad day, they'll call you out on it. Even if you're trying to hide it. Are you sad? Do you feel okay? And they'll ask you that. And if you have a good relationship with your students, they know you well enough to know those things, even if you're trying to hide them. So you have to learn how to do that effectively. But they will always pick it out no matter how good at it you are.
So have you noticed you've brought anything in from your teaching career, any, skills or anything like that into now your acting career?
Oh, definitely. Organization, for one. As a teacher, you have to be organized. You know all of your students. You know what they're capable of, where they're going. You have to do the same thing in your acting career. If you're not organized, you're not going to get anywhere. It's not just about your ability to act. It's about how you manage yourself, your brand. If you have a manager to help you, great. But, I don't. So I'm managing me. And if I didn't have those organizational skills I had to build from being an educator, I don't think I could do what I do now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that so many, and I know this vein travels through every episode of this podcast. I say it all the time. How many actors in their later stages of their life worry that the train has left the station and they're trying to catch up, and that everything that they've ever done throughout their life was a waste and it goes up in a puff of smoke. And you're like, no, so much of what you learned in order to do your first job is so applicable to acting, if not like, more than like any acting class can teach you.
Yeah. Oh, and I also think being like a more mature actor or whatever makes a big difference too, because you have more life experience to draw on. And even if you get to that point where you have to reinvent yourself because you feel like you've gone as far as you can, life gives you that if you just listen.
Huh. Yeah. It's interesting. When we're in acting class, they talk about that, right? Like pulling from your life experiences. And I remember, this is so dumb when I say it now. I'm laughing at myself for being such an idiot. I remember feeling almost like I had a competitive advantage over some of these like young kids because they didn't know how to pull from, because they hadn't experienced some of the like real traumas that I'd been through. And I'm like, I'm cheating. Like, I'm feeling guilty, and that of being, like, trying to use this, like, inner turmoil that comes from a very real place. And, like, it's not fair because you don't have that, but I do. Like, what a weird thing to think.
No, I'm with you because I felt that way, too, especially doing this as an adult. When you're acting as a child, you just get to talk. You know, everything almost comes naturally to you, and as an adult, you overthink and you worry and you have all these other, issues going on. And for me, that was one of them, that it was unfair because I have all these things to tap into. If I need to cry on cue, all I do is think about my son, and there you go, and I use it every single time. And maybe the 20-year-old doesn't have that. Sorry, honey. Sorry.
Yeah. But I think, and I had a great acting coach because I expressed this to her, right? And she laughed, obviously, and said, like this is what we want. We, the audience, wants to see is genuine emotion, and this is coming from a place of genuine emotion. But there's that feeling of, guilt that you're using some of your past trauma as an advantage. But I think that is, like, genuine emotion breeds empathy, right? And there's no other way to do art, I think, than tapping into that genuine feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because you decide to quit teaching and focus on acting. As somebody who didn't go through traditional theater school or film school, I'm assuming, how did you learn what to do? Like, how did you learn how to make an acting career?
Well, I had people in my life who do that already, so that makes a difference because I learned by watching them. And I do train just like anyone else does. We all have to take acting classes. It's like a lifelong thing. Just like in education, you have to learn and get your master's, and, you have to keep up those credit hours. Doctor, same thing. Acting is the same. It's not like you learn it once and you're done. Theater acting that I did for years of my life that I got, in-house training for is completely different than film acting. And I had to learn that both in class and just by watching other people. And that's what I've been doing. Still training all the time.
Yes. Yeah. And I think you touched on something that's so key, right? The idea of community, right? Having people who are in this industry already and looking to them for mentorship. And it's funny, when I first started, I had this feeling, and this is very common in medicine. And I think the term that the kids use these days is gatekeeping. That idea of like, I'm scared to ask these people in this industry because they're going to hide it from me. Like like they're going to keep it away like a dragon hiding treasure, right? Like, no, I know how to get into this industry. I'm not going to tell you.
It's mine. Yeah.
Mine. Right. And if I let you in, it means there's less space for me. Did you ever experience that? Or is that something that you've found?
A little, but mostly no. I mean, you're going to have those people, right, that feel that they need to do that. And I feel like on their end, it's just their lack of confidence in themselves. But overall, no. I mean, if I need something, I ask. If I don't understand something, I ask. Or people tell me. And even if it doesn't apply to me right then and there, I listen, and you'd be surprised that when it comes back, oh, we had this conversation once. If you're willing to learn, they're willing to teach. That's what I've learned.
Oh, that's so key, because I think, so often, I think especially, I don't know, there's a curiosity that I know needs to stay within actors, within everyone, honestly, because it's so vulnerable to say, I don't know this. And I wonder, because especially in the acting world, we're scared to say, I don't know, because then we'll just be pushed aside, because they'll be like, I don't want to waste my time teaching you, because there's somebody over there down the road who does know already. Yeah. Have you ever felt that way? What are your thoughts on that?
I've experienced that a little bit, and in those instances, I think, okay, well, next time I know, because I'm going to find out. So person A might feel that way, and okay, great, fine, go ahead and move on. But when person B comes around, I go, I know about that. I mean, you don't know if you don't ask. I hate the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. For some reason, it really irritates me. But it's true. You don't know what you don't know. So, no. It's okay to ask. It's okay to read. It's okay to reach out to people who know things you don't. Or you will be the person who knows more than other people do. I have talked to and mentored people that, originally I thought, no one's going to ask me anything. I don't know anything. But I do. And I think, again, that's like the link back to education. You're always learning, always growing. I've transferred that over to acting, always learning, always growing. And I can still teach other people. And I do. Yes.
I think there's such a feeling of, again, like now that I'm in the position, and again, it's a weird feeling, I agree with you, in both my medical career and the acting career, where I have people that want me to teach them about this. Again, I know imposter syndrome up the wazoo. Yeah. We
right.
all do.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Who, we're not new. We're not unique. But it is really interesting, because if I flip it and I think about myself, would I ever gatekeep? And I hope the answer will always be no. Right? Of course, yes. I'm going to say to somebody young in this industry, young in the, not in like the age, chronological age, but I hope, and maybe that would be the time that I would need to quit, is if I become a gatekeeper, being like, no, I'm not going to tell you the secrets.
Right.
Yeah.
I get joy out of helping people. Again, I think it's the educator part that, never leaves me. I like it when I can help someone or when they understand it. Just like when children get a concept and that you've been working on, and then all of a sudden it's like click, and you see it in their face, you see it in their eyes. I think it's the same.
Yeah.
Except I have that feeling in myself when I help someone else.
Got it. Yeah. And I honestly, this is my armchair expert coming. It comes, I think, right back to the love of applause, right? And it's not just like, yay, you did great. It's the reaction of the audience, the person that you are helping, the person that you're in service to as the actor, right? As the teacher, as the whoever. It's looking at a scene partner or the audience, right? And wanting that reaction back. The parallels are crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Now, you're in the industry now. Has there anything that has surprised you coming in, especially after a long career in education?
Honestly, yeah. The not booking as many auditions as you think you would. Yep. I know that you're not going to book everything you audition for. That's obvious, okay. But, sometimes you go a really long time, and it's super frustrating, and I think anyone in this industry will agree with us. It's super frustrating. You can do all the right things, and it doesn't matter. In education, you see the growth in your students, or if there's a trouble spot, you work on fixing it, and you have all these different markers that tell you I'm doing the right thing, even if progress is slow. Here in this world, sometimes not so much. am I doing the right thing? I'm still getting auditions, but I'm not booking any of them. Why aren't I booking any of them? Is it me? You know, sometimes you can ask certain people in your life, and sometimes you can't, depending on who they are. And you don't get the feedback acting that you get in education. And for me, and still for me, that is the biggest hurdle that I still deal with, because I just have to be okay with, I don't know.
Yeah. It is twofold for me. In the fact that, part of that is the fact that there's no control. Like, we have no control over that, which drives me
none.
insane. Zip. But I think, the lack of feedback is shocking. And because, like you were saying, you got not only feedback instantaneously from your students, I can only imagine, but also feedback from your theater acting. So now you're in, like, film and TV, and there's nothing. Like, how do you know progress?
Right. And I get it. I mean, they have a lot to do. They're not going to be like, oh, it was nice to see your face, but here are the 20 things you did wrong. Or here's what we didn't like. And I don't expect that. But, like, you know, once in a while, good job, sorry didn't get picked, would be nice. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember seeing an interview, and I'm blanking on which casting director it was, and they were actually saying how much they wish, like, some of our casting platforms had the ability to, like, give a drop-down menu that would have, you know, feedback options for actors that would get sent from casting to actors, because it would take literally no time, right? It'd be a little bit more time.
Click, click, click.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, did great, not the right person for the role. Was considered for a callback, didn't quite make it. Like, no... completely off for the character. Like, it doesn't need to be lengthy explanations. It's just, give me something.
Give me a nugget of hope that I am doing the right thing, and that in my case, I changed my entire life to do this job. Please just give me like a, that's it.
You're on the right track.
Good job. You haven't made a horrible mistake.
Please just clap for me a little bit.
Yeah, just thumbs up.
So, and I know this is such a loaded question. How do you measure your progress now? Is that something that you feel like you still need? How do you find ways for feedback?
That's a good question. So, do you know who Wendy Elaine Wright is?
Oh, I've been told her name so many times.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm taking her advanced course right now, so it's all about publicity and things like that. So I have, through that, it has forced me to do some things that I really didn't want to do or didn't think I had time to do. Like, I'm in the process of starting a YouTube channel. I never wanted to be that person. And I feel like when you have a family and, like, it's hard to find time for that. But because of her and the class that I'm in, I'm pushing myself to do these things, starting my YouTube channel. Every time I do voiceover stuff, and I do kids' audiobooks. So every time I do one, I make a little poster about it myself. I promote it myself. And even though, like, the whole world isn't seeing it, you know, people in my life do, or I'll, like, you know, post it on Instagram, or I'll post it on Facebook, or, you know, whatever. Here's a link to my YouTube channel. But even just those little things are how I'm getting through it, because I need some sort of measurable something that tells me this is still the okay thing to do. I mean, it's great to have confidence, but, you know, sometimes it's not enough.
Well, and I think that's really, really important to hear, right? I think a lot of people are looking for ideas for what to do, and whether it's right for them or not, it doesn't matter. Everything that you do that I think is, in this industry, that is forward-facing, and again, putting yourself out there, whatever, but it is that planting little seeds and just also continuing to remind yourself that what you're doing is correct. You know, that affirming for you.
Yeah, and it's hard to put yourself out there. You feel you're already doing it every time you audition. Why do I have to do this on YouTube? Why do I have to make a LinkedIn post? Why do I have to blah, 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 blah? But I am starting to see now why that's so essential. You know, other people, they have managers and publicists to do the stuff for them. If they didn't and they were me, they would be doing the same stuff I'm doing now in hopes that, like, maybe it helps somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard.
It
Oh,
is.
and another thing. You know, with 15 years of teaching, and I'm sure you feel this way in medicine too, like, you get to a point where you know what you're doing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you expect that level of knowledge and understanding to just transfer over. But it doesn't. Even though I am a veteran teacher, I'm a freshman actor. And it's horrible because you're like, no, I'm not. I'm not 22 years old. How can I possibly be new at anything? But you are.
Yep. And how many times I've thought, and I've had to change, again, my mindset with well, of course, like, simple things like I'm auditioning for a nurse role. I never go out for doctors. I don't look like a doctor.
Right. I don't go out for teachers. I'm way short than what they think teachers actually are too.
And it's so
I'm like,
funny
teachers are 5 feet tall. Hello, I did it for 15 years.
But, like, no, that's what the children are, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
But it's like, why would they not cast me?
Right.
I am a veteran at speaking healthcare language. What is wrong with you people? This is insane. I thought we were trying for authentic casting. I'm like, no. You're a baby actor. The veteran actors can be a nurse just as good as you can. I'm like, oh.
You're like, but I do it for a living.
Right?
Hello.
It blows my mind. And I also fully understand where they're coming from. So, yeah. It makes me angry, but I'm also like, yeah, okay, fine. I got to do some, like, surgical hand doubling for a medical show that they filmed here in Toronto, which was so neat. I never auditioned as an actor for the show, even though I was like, why can't I be on this damn show? I am the type of surgeon in real life.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right? But then I see the actors and they're doing their thing and I'm like, God damn it. You are an actor playing a doctor. You're great. You're doing it. It's like speaking another language, right? They're trained to do it and they will do it. You're like, yep, okay, I see. I understand. You know, it's, yeah.
Yep. I concede. I concede. Yeah.
No one cares if they cast a real-life teacher in the role of the teacher role, a real-life doctor in the role of the doctor role. They do not care.
Nope.
No one cares.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Because to them, you don't look like a doctor.
Exactly.
Or I don't look like a teacher.
Yeah. They're like, I'm confused. Yeah. Well, with that being said, do you have any advice for anyone looking to start into this industry later on in life?
Well, I definitely would say keep your day job as long as you can. Within reason, of course, but things just don't happen fast. And I think, culturally in the world today and how things work, we expect immediate. That's what we're all, like, mentally trained to see. And it does not happen that way. In our world, as it stands now, I would definitely say go for it. You should. If you have a passion and something you want to do, then by all means do it. Life is short. But just know that it's not going to come as easily as you think most of the time. I mean, people get lucky and, like, people have connections, and good for you. Congratulations. But overall, no. So just do it. Don't quit your day job. And, yeah, do it. Just try. If it's not for you, you'll know pretty quick, I would think.
Yeah. I think the hard thing is, and we always get in that mindset of the psychology term, like, sunk cost fallacy. Like, once you put money into it, you're going to keep doing it. And I think, we definitely are guilty of that, I know, because being an actor is not cheap.
No, it's not.
No. So do you have any advice for, like, where should people start?
Well, start at any local acting class you have, even theater classes. I mean, yes, theater is a whole different animal, but if you've never done it before and you think it's something you might want to do, start there. Community theater is an amazing place to grow and cultivate your abilities and to even see if you want to do it. You might think you do and then get on stage and be like, no. Or if you have, like, we have a great studio by me called First Team Actors Studio, and that's where I've done all of my on-camera training. Take a class at something like that. They have very entry-level, welcome to this world, like the world of film acting type classes. Take one of those. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it. Start there. And, like, you can, if it's an interest of yours, you can get cheaper, basic equipment on Amazon. I mean, that's how I started. I got a ring light for $30. I have my blue screen that I still use is still there, my blue and green screen thing. I painted my office gray for when I need theatrical. Just take that down and everything I do is back there. But you can start small and change as you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. And people don't know. You could have all the technical equipment and all the highest equipment, and that's not going to make your abilities any better if you don't have them or, you don't want to do it. So why waste the time and energy on that and actually put it into training and learning and growing? I got an audition once when I was on vacation. I had no equipment at all. I didn't even have a proper place to do what I was trying to do, and it was just a winging it situation. And I booked it with nothing. Just someone holding my phone like this.
Yeah, and I think those things happen so much more often than we like to admit because we want to control the things we can control, right? We want to be like, okay, I'm going to get a new backdrop for Christmas. I'm going to get a new blah, 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 a new camera for my self-tapes, and they're going to be amazing. When it's interesting. It's so funny you say that about your audition. My agent did a thing for Christmas where she showed us a bunch of self-tapes that booked. And yeah, some of them are in their kitchen. They've got stuff in the background. But when you watch the actor act, you're like, yeah.
You ignore everything else.
You ignore everything else. Casting directors aren't idiots. They know how to ignore the dog barking in the background. It's not ideal, but they're not dumb. Like,
right, exactly. So someone's cutting grass. Well, you can't help what your neighbors are doing. I just did one, and my neighbors next door are redoing their kitchen, so we hear pounding. I'm like, well,
this is
sorry.
Life. Yep.
Good thing I'm playing a cop. I mean, maybe they think there's something going on.
I think, and I think, I don't know, I hope. I think at the beginning of the pandemic, when self-tapes were becoming such a huge thing, there was so much, like, find a quiet space, find to do this, where now, I think there has to be more relaxation from it all. Being like, you know what? Just your performance is all that matters, and to be honest, it's all that should matter.
Right.
All that
I
should
agree
matter.
with you.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen on set. What if something falls down? You're not going to be like, oh, God, that scared me. No, you're just going to keep right on going and acting like it didn't happen. So if the dog's barking or the UPS man goes ding dong or whatever it is,
and you stay in character?
Yeah.
Like, that's such that's genius point, right? Like, if I was casting, and again, I have no idea what casting directors want, but that is, to me, that's the mark of a true professional, right? It's theater training to a T, right? Because anything can happen in live theater. And also, it means you're not wasting people's time, energy, and money on set, which is, you can't put a value on that. It's huge. That's so interesting. Yeah, I love that. Did you have any cool or fun on set or on stage stories?
Oh, geez. Yeah. I'm looking at my notes real quick because I did write something down, but I don't remember what I said. What did I say? Haha, okay, I remember. So I actually have two. I have two, and I'll be real quick about them. So one, doing live theater, I was doing this play called Hay Fever. So it, takes place in England. It's by Sir Noel Coward, and it takes place in the 20s, I believe, or 30s. I don't remember now. Somebody had put a live fish in the scene. So we were going to get family dinner and we were talking and all that. I go to open up the bowl and there's to get soup and there's a live fish floating around in there. Yeah. And my back was to the audience at that time, which is fine. Thank God they couldn't see my face because I mean, no one expects to see a live fish with, the greenery, I can't think of the word, what goes in a fishbowl, just in the bowl of soup. And I had to scoop. I mean, that wasn't, so I'm trying not to scoop the fish into the bowl. And I'm carrying it back to the table and I'm talking, I'm talking in my British accent while I'm doing it. And I'm trying to, with my eyes, tell people, there's a fish back there. Because part of the scene was each person would go and get, the bowl and, talk. So I tried to warn them, and I couldn't see what was going on behind me. So as each person would go, you can just hear clank or, someone shoo, and I know that they jumped because you're not expecting to see a fish.
My God.
But it was there, it was fine. It ended up going home with one of the cast members.
Oh, my Lord.
But that was memorable. That was a while ago, and I still remember it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And another one that I have is I did a short film in a lighthouse.
Ooh.
So where the lighthouse was situated, it was like a national park, beach kind of thing. And at night, they close the gate, you can't leave. So we knew that we had to spend the night there. Okay, fine. Well, lighthouses don't have electricity all the time. At least this one didn't. It was run by a generator. Okay. But because of that, there's something called a composting toilet. Do you know what that is?
Kinda? Not really. No, I don't.
Okay. So obviously you can't flush a toilet, you don't have electricity.
Yes.
So it's basically just like dust that you have to use instead of flushing a toilet. That was my first experience with such a thing. I'm not a camper. I don't like being outdoorsy. I don't mind it. I'll do it. But that was a crash course in interesting life things that I didn't know existed. So we had to deal with that. We had no electricity at night. We could hear the water hitting the side of the lighthouse and the little critters that join us. Just scampering all night long. I did not get any sleep, which was fine because we had to shoot early in the morning and I was supposed to look haggard and fine. I didn't get any sleep. I feel great. But yeah, so that was my, that was an experience.
A method. Experience. It's like your method acting.
I was sure method acting hard. Yes.
That sounds awful. Everything about that sounds terrible.
It was. I love it. I love the film now. It's really important to me. Yeah. But that was an experience that I did not foresee.
You did not have that on your life bingo bingo sheet.
Nope, not a bucket list item. No. Sleep in lighthouse with critters and composting toilet. What? Yes, please. I have fulfilled my goals. No.
Did you ever imagine when you were teaching Montessori that this would ever be your life?
No. No, absolutely not. No, never. And I'm curled up on the couch and I got a blanket and the caretaker of the lighthouse stayed and her dog would be wandering around. So I'm laying there, not sleeping, listening to all the little mice going in and out, and the dog is coming up and licking my feet, and I'm just like, it's only 2 a.m.? Okay.
I love it. I'm a professional actor.
Right. I'm like, this happens all the time to people, doesn't it?
Oh
but
my God.
it's here. It's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's here. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
How would people describe what you do for a living these days?
Well, my daughter tells me that I play pretend and I yell at people who aren't there. So we have a system where they are geniuses. I have a system where my family and friends know when I'm like doing this stuff and, stay away or be quiet or leave the house would be even better. But she'll listen and she'll go, well, who were you yelling at? Were they being bad? What were they like? And she wants to know the scenario, and sometimes I can tell her and sometimes I can't. But she, says I yell at people who aren't there. I play pretend, and sometimes I cry for no reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like it. That's like the most perfect definition of acting. Yeah, that I've ever heard.
Isn't it? From a 5-year-old.
From a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
From the mouths of babes. Genius child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Is there anything that you are looking forward to coming up this year?
Well, other than maybe booking more, who isn't looking forward to that? Right? Manifest. Book more. Please. Honestly, I am now looking forward to doing my YouTube channel. I'm terrified to do it. Yeah. I'm kind of like half butt doing it. I need to just go all in. And once I finally do that, it'll be good. I just have to convince myself that it's the right thing to do. It takes up a lot of time. I did not realize how much time and energy goes into all of that. I never wanted to be a content creator. I still don't. Don't look to me for fashion advice or anything like that. But it's a lot of work. And I know once I get going, it'll be fine. But until then, but I am looking forward to that day when I have a handle on it sometime this year. And I know what I'm doing.
Nice.
Sometime this year.
Yeah. Do you have any final words of wisdom or advice?
Man, just try. Just try. It's not worth living your life scared of something. Whether it's wanting to be an actor or, wanting to try tennis or I don't know, whatever it is that someone wants to do, just try it. Who cares if you suck? You suck whenever you start something new. It doesn't matter what it is. I cannot cook, okay? I cannot cook or bake to save my life. I have tried. It hasn't gone well. But you know what? I'm still trying. I'll get there maybe. But I'm trying, and that's what other people need to do. Just try. Who cares if you don't do a good job? Or who cares if it's scary? Or who cares if you fail? At some point, everyone fails at something. So just do it. Just try.
I love it.
You never know until you try, but it's real. It's real.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you, Nicole, for being my guest this week. Thank you so much for sliding into my DMs and spending time with me and telling me your incredible story and being so open and vulnerable with me and my audience. I so appreciate you. I'm so excited to keep, this sounds so creepy, I'm so excited to keep stalking you digitally and following your career, because I know everything you're doing, you're just going to explode, and now everyone knows and has seen and heard the energy that I know you have from our conversation. Now the world gets to see and hear it. It's just the best. You are wonderful. Now I'm rambling. I hope you will all join me next week for another episode of Second Act Actors. And if you would like to support this lovely indie podcast that I very obviously do everything myself, let's be honest, there ain't no professional editor for this. If you would like to support this show, please like, subscribe, review, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, Second Act Actors. Build this community. This allows other people to find the show, and it just fills my little heart with joy, and I appreciate it so much. I hope you all tune in next week for another episode of Second Act Actors. Bye!